Hello, my friends. I'm here. I'm a little late, but we're doing it. We're getting there. Carly redeemed first and is heading down for a nap. Carly, enjoy your nappy. We'll be here for a bit. Peter, shut up and take my money because I love you, okay? 39-month streak. Peter, thank you so much for 39 months of support. Mystery Mochi's here. Taryn is here. My friends, how are you? Pi is here. Pi and Peter, always a chaotic combination. How's it going, my friends? The crowds await the first appearance and speech of Pope Megan the First. I do not want to be a pope. I'll be a patron saint of words, but I do not want to be the pope. Pope Megan the First, patron saint of words, protector of the clacks. Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Praise the Holy Pepper. She is here. Praise. The Holy Pepper is out of town this week. He's gotten on a bus with a bunch of kids, children's. What's up, the alpaca? Hello, hello. How's it going? Haven't seen you in a bit. Yeah, Ghost Pepper is currently on a bus full of teenagers headed to an out-of-town rugby tournament, and last I heard, they are fighting over the children, not Ghost Pepper, are fighting over the karaoke mic because I guess they've got karaoke on the bus. So that's going to be an interesting day for the Ghost Peppers. Girls Trip 2025. Heck yeah. When do you leave, Taryn? I thought you were leaving yesterday. Do you leave today? Mystery Mochi, how's it going? Just starting with the first draft of my new sci-fi novel. Hell yes. That's awesome. If you want to tell us anything about what it's about, please feel free. No pressure. I know some people don't like talking about their ideas for various reasons, so no pressure, but if you want to tell us a little about the new novel, please do. I would fight over Mr. Pepper. They are, in fact, fighting over the mic so that they can sing, evidently, to their peers. I can't wait to hear more about that when he gets home. Apparently there is a new pope today, but I haven't had a chance to, oops, I forgot to tweet. So let's do that now. Totally organized, you guys. Totally organized. Everything is okay. I haven't had a chance to look up if the new pope has actually appeared yet. I know that we got white smoke. Have we seen the new pope yet? Cardinal Robert Prevost. Totally know who that is. Elected new pope. From the U.S., the first American pontiff in history. Interesting. Will be known as Leo the 14th, apparently. Congratulations to that guy. I'm there at my sister's house. Oh, hey, Taryn's mom and sister, if they're listening. Mom and sis both have to work today. They're not listening. But it affords me a nice comfy house to do my own work. Heck yeah. He's 69, you say. I could make a very inappropriate joke. But I won't, out of respect for anyone who's listening who might be Catholic. There's a new pope. His name is Leo, and he's American. He has made his first speech on the balcony. I was hoping Carly would be here to make that joke, but she's slumbering. Listen, there's going to be plenty of time to make that joke. Is 69 young for a pope? Is that old for a pope? Like, what's the average age? I'm assuming these days popes tend to live a lot longer than in ye olde days, but what's like the average age for a pope at election time? It's about space traveling to Pluto, which will lead, because of ship hijacking, to more distant planets. Ooh, glad to see Pluto getting some love in sci-fi. Pluto, forever a planet in my heart. Anyone who's Catholic is not here, and if they are, they aren't seeing them pearly gates. Listen, there's some wholesome things on my streams, Peter. It's not all depravity. We have some really wholesome conversations. Also, anyone who's Catholic is welcome to be here. I just might accidentally insult you because I'm not Catholic. Sorry. Comparatively young, the last 3 are dead. Well, it's a lifelong appointment, isn't it? Doesn't the previous pope have to die for the new pope to be elected? I think back in the day, every ruler was probably pretty young, but like these days, what's the average age of a pope? What is the average age of a pope when elected? Google's AI. Oh, Google's AI didn't even try to answer this. The last 10 popes were elected at an average age of 67. The average age of the 62 popes elected since 1400 is 62.4 years. Any age data prior to 1400... Why did I say it that way? 1400 is considered largely unreliable. So, popes average pretty old. Never really a young pope. What's the average? This is when we wish Ghost was here. If Ghost was here, he would have tons of just random pope facts for you. All I know is that there was an undead pope at one point. That's all I know. What is the average term length? How long do popes last on average? The average papal tenure is 7 years, with the longest held by Saint Peter, who was pope for 34 years. He was a saint, though. So there we go. It is a lifelong appointment, but they can resign if they want. There's some Pope facts for you. I hope we have fulfilled your voracious curiosity about popes. Ghost Pepper would do a lot better if he was here. He's out of town. I have to fill in. I will absolutely fight anyone who says Pluto is not a planet. Neil deGrasse Tyson is first on my list. Like, listen, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a sweet guy. He does a lot of good work. Pluto will always be a planet. In my heart, in my mind, in my soul. Pluto is a planet. What is my very excellent mother going to serve up if Pluto is not a planet? Like, I need those 9 pizzas. Or pies, or whatever else starts with a P that you want to consider my very excellent mother having just served up. I feel like this is a suitable enough emergency to phone and ask him. I cannot phone him right now. He is on a bus full of teenagers. He will not be able to answer. When he gets home, I will tell him that he needs to put together a history corner about popes. Although I think he did do one already. I'm literally wearing a shirt today that says, back in my day we had 9 planets. Heck yeah, Sardinisms, welcome in. There's a new pope. We've been talking about the new pope. There's a new elected pope. She just served us. Served us what, though? Because if you say, my very excellent mother just served us, like, subpoenas? Court subpoena? Did she just serve you a court subpoena? Is she a lawyer? You know, times have changed. Honestly, we still have 9 planets in my heart and soul. This is what I'm saying. Pi is on a 30 stream streak, trying to demote that to a 0.3 pi. That's not even in the right order. The numbers aren't even in the right order. Did I become the new pope? Was I chosen? I don't think so, Pi, sadly. They chose an American this time. But you know what, Pi? Next time. Apparently we elect a new pope roughly every 7 years. So your time is coming. It's a very interesting conversation that we're the juxtaposition between talking about a new pope and talking about the fact that Pluto is still a planet. I do love these streams for that very reason. This Pope Minute was brought to you by Arby's. And the letter P. Sardinisms, how's it going? I'm on a 5 stream streak, but the share button broke. Oh no! It could be that you're about to get a 5 stream streak. Or a 6 stream streak, rather, and if it's switching over to the 6, it sadly disables the button for 5. But I appreciate you hanging out. There'll be another button in a few days. You can be Megan's co-pope. Yeah. Pi, we can be co-popes together, evidently. That's how it works. Didn't the popes used to be out and about fighting people, and somehow they gradually just stay home in their slippies? I don't think so. I think it used to be the knights that did most of the fighting back in the day. I don't think the Pope really ever rode onto the front lines, but I could be wrong. This is why we need Ghost Pepper. He knows these things. Today was 5. You could try refreshing Sardinisms. It might bring the button back, but it might kick you into pre-rolls again. So you might want to, like, keep the stream open in one window and then open another window so that you can ignore the ads but get your button back, maybe? It could be down in the... it should be down in the channel points area. Get in, loser, we're going to see Jesus. The only thing I know... What was it called? Pope Synod is the only thing I know about. Maybe that's not the right thing that I'm thinking about. What is the... Who was the undead pope? Pope Formosus, who was exhumed from his grave and put on trial in what is known as the Cadaver Synod, the Cadaver Trial, in 897. The controversial event involved his corpse being brought to court to be judged for alleged crimes committed during his papacy. So I believe what happened was that the pope that reigned after him wanted to, like, get a leg up on his predecessor and be like, heck yeah, Sardinism's 5 stream streak, hell yeah! Thank you for hanging out so often. So basically, I guess it was Pope Stephen the Sixth was the successor. The successor of Formosus' successor, so it was like 2 popes later. He wanted to get, like, street cred. He wanted to get pope cred. So he exhumed Pope Formosus and put him on trial. And there was, like, a guy who was assigned to speak for him who never said anything because, like, I think it was considered a sin. So they were like, it's gonna be your job to speak for the dead pope, knowing that he would never actually say anything. And then I think they threw the body into the river afterwards, and all kinds of weird shit happened after they threw his body into the river. And so the pope who put him on trial was, like, in a lot of trouble because they thought that they were basically getting punished by God. So that was a thing that happened. I'm looking for it on Wikipedia, but I have to go through, like, his actual... I have to go through, like, his actual life to get there. Yeah, it's the wrong pope. Pope Formosus. We did some wild things in history, you guys. Cadaver synod, there we go. So he had been dead for about 7 months. And it took place during January in 897. The trial was conducted by Pope Stephen VI, successor to Formosus' successor, Pope Boniface VI. So apparently he didn't last for very long. Stephen had Formosus' corpse exhumed and brought to the papal court for judgment. He accused Formosus of perjury, of having acceded to the papacy illegally, and illegally presiding over more than one diocese at the same time. At the end of the trial, Formosus was pronounced guilty, and his papacy retroactively declared null. The Cadaver Synod is generally presumed to have been politically motivated. We'll skip that part. Probably around January 897, Stephen VI ordered that the corpse of his predecessor, Formosus, be removed from its tomb and brought to the papal court for judgment. With the corpse propped up on a throne, a deacon was appointed to answer for the deceased pontiff. Formosus was accused of transmigrating sees in violation of canon law, of perjury, and of serving as a bishop while actually a layman. Wow. Eventually the corpse was found guilty, and other sources say that after having the corpse stripped of its papal vestments, Stephen then cut off the 3 fingers of the right hand that it had used in life for blessings, next formally invalidating all of Formosus' acts and ordinations. The body was finally interred in a graveyard for foreigners, only to be dug up once again, tied to weights, and cast in the Tiber River. The macabre spectacle turned public opinion in Rome against Stephen, because the body washed up on the banks of the Tiber, and rumor had it that his waterlogged, rotting corpse was still performing miracles. So after they put him on trial and said that he wasn't a proper pope, he got thrown into the river, and people thought his body was still doing stuff, and it didn't go well. Definitely worth reading more into. Ghost Pepper talked about it on one of his streams once. Totally crazy. You finished book 1! Sardonisms. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying it. I assume you would stop reading it if you weren't enjoying it, but I hope you're enjoying it. Rest in peace with my fist in your face. Why has no one made a movie about this, and why should William Dafoe play the undead pope? I could definitely see that. Somebody might have made a movie about it at some point. There were a lot of crazy things that happened in history. It's funny because I read something one time, because I'm not as huge a history nerd as Ghost Pepper is, but I'm a huge history nerd. And history is full of all of these stories of people just doing wild and crazy things. Like, you're like, why did they do that? Why did this relationship get so crazy? Why did they make these wild decisions? And then a historian that I was reading one time was like, you have to remember that the average age that people died at back then was like 32. So it's like these rulers were coming of age at 18 and being in charge of a country. Woof is here! Thank you for the 18 months of subscriptions, my dear. How's it going? So, yeah, the reason why they made all these crazy decisions is because their brains hadn't fully developed yet, and they were in charge of the world. Um, licking my husband. I approve. He doesn't, but I do. Got the big chunk of sub POV copied over from Dom POV and updated the verb tenses. Dom POV is switched past tense halfway through and had to get fixed. Sub POV is present tense throughout. Heck yeah! Imagine being the last person that Pope blessed and you're like, I was the very last person, that's amazing, that's a gift from the Lord, and you wake up the next morning and he's just floating past your house. That would be terrifying. In the year 890, that would be terrifying. I very much did. Good boys are good, but the title of book 2 scares me. It's okay. It'll all be okay. Everything's fine. Ish. Trying to think of what the title of that book is. The average lifespan was that low, but that's because of all the child deaths. If you made it to adulthood, your life expectancy wasn't that much lower than a modern person's. Yeah, but they still considered you to be a full adult at like 16. So if the previous ruler died, and they died young, most of them didn't make it to like their 80s, then the new ruler could be as young as 16. And they were just like, okay, you're 16 years old, you're fully adult, and you're charged by God to rule this country. Terrifying. Now to rewrite the first scene from Sub's POV, and the middle scene from Dom's, and then the morning after, and then I have to decide whether to post this or let it die with me. You definitely should not let it die with you. You should definitely share it. Woof is already eager to read it. It doesn't matter if Woof is in that fandom. He's ready. He's ready to read it. Today, we're going to do something other than talk about the new Pope. Hang on. I'm a little sniffly today because the weather is changing a lot. So if I lean out of frame to blow my nose like 6 million times, I apologize. Woof is read longer. How are things with me? I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. My legs hurt because I've been exercising this week. But I persevere. I've been doing good. Tonight, since Ghost Pepper's out of town, I'm gonna order myself a nice curry from a place down the street. A nice little yellow curry to have. And I'm gonna watch the latest episode of Dr. Odyssey because I'm an episode behind. And get caught up on that. And then I'm gonna play MonsterCon with Woof, Bard, and Carl. Which I'm greatly looking forward to. I have no idea who I'm gonna go for, but I'm gonna let everybody else decide who they want to go for first because I got to play once already and they didn't. So we'll see who they decide that they want to date. I know all 3 of those people. You do, Peter! Incidentally, all people who hung out at your birthday. I don't know if this is like... Guys, I don't know if you know, but it was Woof's day of birth on Monday, so he's 1 year older. He's completed 1 more circle of the sun. I don't know if this is supposed to be Woof's, like, special birthday celebration, question mark? But it's happening. Regardless, it's happening. Blur, hello, how's it going? Woof definitely wants us all to get off of his lawn, but that's okay, because we're not going to. We are going to finish, I am anyway, going to finish Everyone's Child. Not on stream, sadly. I have 2 scenes left to go, so I won't be finishing it during the stream, but I have only 2 scenes to write, and 2 scenes is what I do in a day, so I'm gonna be finishing up this lovely thing here today. I gotta freeze those animations one more time while I open up my documents. Alright, everything should be working again. Okay. I basically have 2 battle scenes to write today. Just like on Tuesday. 2 battle scenes. Heck yeah. Chapter set up here. Still 19 properly, that'd be lovely. Do that kind of day. Blur, how's it going? What do we want to do today? What activity do we want to do in the kitchen? I think if we do the actual cooking and hang out with the Cappy bun, I think it actually goes into a pot. And I don't know why, but it's just fucking... First of all, this sweetie boop here does not give a shit. No fucks given. But I do think it's adorable that it just hangs out in its own little pot. Let's fiddle with the lighting. Do we want morning lighting? Afternoon? It's evening. The evening lighting is really warm and inviting, I will say. I do like the nighttime, though. But let's go with... We'll do morning for a change. I'll allow it to be morning in my imaginary worlds for, I don't know, an hour or so. And I think I chose the, like, pretzel-y one. So this is, like, the default, more, like, baguette style. And I chose the, more, like, pretzel bread one kind of thing. And then there's also pizza. I like that it's pizza, but it still has the butter on it. And then there's like blueberry chocolate. There's like just cheese bun, but again, I think it's like cheese and garlic with the butter on top. I just noticed it has little butter on its paws. Too cute. And then there's a strawberry one, and then there's a galaxy one. But I chose the pretzel one. Because I thought it looked the most delicious. Take that as you will. How to call him back now. Welcome back, Sardinisms. I'm doing good, Blur. Art is on the agenda for today since I got the video editing part done yesterday. Back to arts. Heck yeah. I'm doing okay. Ghost Pepper's out of town, so it's going to be an interesting couple of days for me. Today won't be too bad, because, like, the first part of today will just be normal, until I hit the part of the day where he would normally come home, and then, so I'll probably be able to keep my schedule, I'll actually probably be able to keep my schedule a little bit okay, because tonight I have the stream with Woof and Bard and Carly, so I have to have eaten in time to do that stream. So I'll keep a schedule up to that point, which shouldn't be too hard because it'll be like if Ghost was home. And then tomorrow I'm supposed to be going out to dinner with a friend at roughly around the regular dinner time. So again, it gives me something to kind of keep my schedule on track. But we'll see. I'm pretty sure by Saturday night I'll just be like, I don't know, I ate at some point. So while Ghost is gone, are we having a slumber party? All besties over to Megan's bring snacks. I mean, if you can get here in time, go for it. My husband mentioned a surprise, which I normally love, but he also mentioned potentially needing to move some of my items. And now I'm freaking out and he refuses to offer me any reassurance and I'm super anxious. I'm sure that if he is touching your stuff, he's going to be super careful with it and he's going to put it back where it goes after. Because if you're like me, everything in its place, I don't like my stuff getting moved. I'm sure he's going to take care of it. I'm sure he knows you well enough to know that he's got to take good care of your stuff. And hopefully the surprise will be worth it. Let's do 2 hydrates. A 1. And then 2. Also, I just realized that I forgot to update the layout. It's showing the wrong work in progress. So let me fix that. Let me fix. It's going to delete the chat, but it'll be okay. We are actually working not on Aravalia, but on everyone's child. Yes, yes. And it is actually currently sitting at 107,000 words because I can't shut up, really. That's the main problem. Oh boy. Alright, I gotta fix this. There we go. Fixed. He asked first, he said my stickers would be right, put them. I just don't. Listen, I know. I don't like the idea of my stuff getting moved around when I'm not there to take care of it either. But just have him reassure you when it's done. Tell him that you just want to know that everything's okay when he's done. Take a picture of the stickers to make sure they're the same after. I've tried to do that before. I've tried to like mark where my monitors go so that when I accidentally move them, I can put them back. I've had mixed results. Third hydrate, here you go, Pie. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick cheeky break to get switched into writing mode. It's funny because I have this war with myself every time I have to do a battle scene where I'm like, I have no idea what I'm gonna write today. Usually I like to have some idea of what I'm gonna actually put on the page before I get started because if you redeem one more, I'll do it after the break. Pie, when my coffee is hot. I can't control you. I never plan out, I've mentioned before, I never plan out, action scenes. I like to have a really good solid plan of what's going to happen in the scene before I sit down to write it, but I can never do that with action scenes. It's like my brain just kind of glosses over them, and I can't actually touch them until I just get in there and do it. So I've been having this little war with myself about the fact that I don't know what I'm gonna write today, but I'm like, it's a battle scene, I'll just turn off my brain and write whatever I write. And then future me will get to fix it, because it's gonna be just total chaos. So we're gonna switch over into writing mode, and hopefully my brain will start to actually prod the edges of where the scene is gonna be so we can get started. So I'm gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna get into our first of 3 30-minute sprints, and I'll be right back. I have right there, man. Pie, I don't see any more hydrates. Where are these legendary hydrates that I've heard so very much about? I don't see any more. Thanks, Blur. How is arting going? What art are we working on today? Alright. Alright. I think I'm ready to go. I'm excited because next week next Monday we're gonna get an update to this game, which means next Tuesday we can go through and look at some of the new options. Proto, how's it going? Hello, you're just in time for our first sprint. Reassurance acquired. I was pretty sure your husband was gonna be willing to give you reassurance at some point. I'll post in the Discord once I know what the surprise is, presumably when I get home on Saturday. Heck yeah! I'm just glad that you know all your precious things are safe. About the same, Protomat. Ghost Pepper just headed out of town on a school trip, school rugby tournament, so I am on my own and unsupervised until Sunday evening when he gets home. Which means I need to remember to eat all on my own and also sleep. And it sounds like, yeah, you know, that normal human functioning, but it's hard when you're creative. I almost said it's hard when you're me. It's hard when you're a creative person and you don't have a schedule unless somebody forces you to have a schedule. I adulted and made an annoying phone call. And now it's done, Taryn, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Alright. Let's get you guys some clicky clackies and see if I can osmose this scene out of my brain spaces. I'm in the habit of emailing people as soon as I start working on a case and then feel awkward if I solve it in 10 minutes. Like, is it spamming if I email again? I don't think so. It's just process, right? If it's solved quickly, then at least they know it's solved quickly. how would Pi redeem Woof? Also, Protomat, thank you for the 3-stream streak. Heck yeah! Working on a small project, may or may not post on YouTube once it's done. Well, let us know if you decide to post it. And good luck either way. I redeem you, my child. You are forgiven all your sins, both past and future. Aww. There you go. Woof, redeemed. Pi is very generous. Of course, Pi is also Chaos incarnate, so who knows what that redemption actually costs. But there you go! Pi, is it the soul of a firstborn? Drop me, give me 10 push-ups. Only 10, Pi. Only 10. For the redemption of a soul. Pi is like, I own you now. I want a recording of the push-ups, Wolf. Pie, enjoy your lurk. Lady of Noxus, hello! Here lurking, just got a new setup for my desk so wow, my tongue gave up halfway through that, so I can sit down finally to write without worrying about the kiddos. Hell yeah, for a new desk! Our new desk setup. Love it. Love it. I hope it is working out for you. trying to work but got distracted installing TTS apps because I realized I can have the computer read my documents to me, but Google Docs doesn't have that built in apparently. I see. That is a thing that you'd think they would have now that they're pushing that whole Gemini thing. But I know a lot of authors who do that, who have a text-to-speech that reads to them, that reads their stuff to them to help them catch errors and stuff. Yeah, it seems like with how much they've been pushing Gemini on like all of their Android stuff, you'd think it would be part of Google Docs, but maybe they just haven't gotten around to adding it. My mom is on my alpha team, so she had me read her my latest submissions while we were on the highway yesterday, and I caught so many things I wouldn't normally just from reading aloud. Yeah, definitely. You should always do at least one pass out loud. Hearing how it strikes your ear helps a lot, especially with commas. You can tell especially where commas should go if you're reading out loud. pause this for 1 second because I gotta finish this thought. Oh my god, why can't I spell particles? Just spell particles for me. Thank you. There we go. Despite my inability to spell particles at the end there, we got there. That was 1,791, apparently for not knowing what I was gonna write. I wrote quite a bit. Wowee. Wowie wow wow. Oh, we gotta hydrate from Blur. And from Proto. All that sweet, sweet coffee. This is actually my last mocha coffee. We switched to a new coffee machine, so we are slowly eliminating all the coffee pods that we have in the house because we no longer need them because we have a proper espresso maker now that uses beans and grinds them for you. Hooray. So we're slowly eliminating all the coffee pods from the house, and this is my last mocha coffee pod. No more shall I have this, but that's okay because I shall have better coffee. We've also got a save alert from Blur. Make sure you save. And a stretch also from Blur. Didn't get much art done that sprint because there's other stuff I needed to do. No worries, Blur. There's gonna be 2 more sprints. 2 more. Could also be the tablet I'm on. It's getting old. Yeah, but then you'd think you could use it from the web, but maybe not. Maybe it doesn't work from the web. I don't know. I actually don't use Google Docs a ton. So... But I just assumed... What was my mom's human spell check until I moved out? Heck yeah. I rely a lot more than I probably should on spell checkers. Because, as clearly demonstrated, sometimes my brain just gives up and I try to type a word 6 times and I just don't get it right, even though I know how to spell it. So finally I'm like, fine, just let spell check write it for me. I'm actually gonna take a quick break, get up and move around. I didn't do a lot of battle in this battle scene just yet. I had to get my characters into the place where the battle's gonna happen. So now they're there. So now we're gonna start with the pew pew. I say the pew pew, but it's fighting with magic. But it'll still kind of be pew pew. So we're gonna start with that in the next sprint, and hopefully get pretty close to the end of this scene because there's gonna be 2 scenes in this battle, so I probably want to leave it kind of on a cliffhanger, so that there's stuff to do in the next scene. So I'm going to pause the timer again, take a quick break, get up, move around. We will come and hang out somewhere else with potentially a new spirit when I get back. Also, you should get up and move around and grab yourself something to eat and or drink if you need to. Remember to move around, use the restroom, take your meds if you need to. Shift which direction, which leg you're sitting on, shift position, do all the things. And I'll be back very soon. Blair says, I only use Google Docs when I write. I haven't touched Word since I was in elementary school. I use Word for most things, but I edit for some authors who prefer to use Google Docs. Thanks, Blair. And so because I don't really use it myself, I don't know a ton of the functionality outside of the basics. Like, I know how to write in there, how to make it look pretty, and how to use editing mode. One of the things I do kind of like about Google Docs is the history mode. So you can, like, go back and look at the entire history of the document. So if you make a change, like if you delete something and then you decide, like, 3 days later, oh wait, I don't actually want to delete that, you can actually go back into the history of the Google document and get whatever you deleted and put it back in. You can't do that with Word unless you're using separate document versions, or if you, like me, email yourself the document every day. Or saving, like, different draft files. Sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning. So I do like that about Google Docs. The history feature is really nice. But I don't use it on a, like, day-to-day basis, so I only know, like, some of the really basic functions. But I do know people who do, like, their whole everything in there. As far as word processors go, I think it's fine. I don't know how well it would fare for formatting, because I've never tried to use it to format a novel. I think something like Word or OpenOffice is probably better for that. Or I guess it's not OpenOffice now. What's it called? It's totally escaping me. OpenOffice stopped being supported and they moved on to another program. LibreOffice. I think that they probably work better for, is it LibreOffice? It's just called Libre. I think those things are probably better for formatting, but people use Google Docs for that kind of stuff all the time. The history mode is really nice. Yeah, it is. And it's nice, too, that it just saves for you automatically, so you don't have to worry about, like me, just remembering to jam the save button every 5 minutes. Google just saves every keystroke, essentially. So whatever you're doing in there, it's saved. As long as you're connected to the internet, you're fine. So I don't necessarily... One thing I don't like about Google Docs is that every time you... Like, so when I go in to do edits for my clients, what happens is every time... Because I do suggesting mode instead of just straight edits, because I want to suggest changes to my authors so that they can actually make a decision about and see what I've changed, right? So unlike with track changes in Word, where it just kind of shows the changes in the document, Google also creates a comment for every change that you make. And if you're working with you're working with a long enough thing, if you're working with a long enough, novel, it can just take forever to load. Cause I did an edit for, an author that was almost, like, it was very large. I don't remember how big the document was anymore, but it was several 100,000 words. And it was, by the time we got to the midpoint of the book, I was just like, it takes 10 minutes for this to load. And he was like, oh, I have a T1 connection, so it just loads like that. And I was like, I don't have a T1 connection, and it takes me 10 minutes to get in. So we had to actually split the document into 2 separate documents for the second half of the edits so that I could actually load it. So that's one thing I don't necessarily like about Google. Theoretically, the organization of it into comments is supposed to make it easier for you to find and respond to what's happening, but it can just make it really hard to load. So fair warning if you're working with an editor in Google Docs and you've got, like, an insanely long document. It can get hefty on the memory if you're trying to load it from the web. Where do we want to hang out next? We've been in the kitchen quite a lot. Let's go hang out. Let's go do some meditations. I just love the meditation for the new spirits. I haven't checked all of them to see if they all do it. Like, I don't know if Bubble Ducky does meditation. Nah, he just kind of hangs out. Got distracted by things and stuff. What did I miss? Are there parties? We did a sprint. I wrote 1,700 words. Shockingly, because I didn't think I was doing that well. And then here we are. Does the fox do meditation? A little bit, kinda. Oops. I don't remember if the bat does it. I think he does a little bit, yeah. And I know the frog does. I think this is one of the cutest ones. For the meditation, because he hangs out on it. He hangs out on his tail, and it's so adorable. Listen. I certainly have my favorites. There we go. A nice little meditation with our waxolotl. Thank you, Peter. I've just pretty much reached the battle part of the battle, so we're going to be doing that very shortly. And we were talking about the features of Google Docs, essentially, and what's good about it and what annoys me about it. But that's with, like, every word processor has its benefits and its drawbacks. Word drives me nuts sometimes because it just has all this hidden formatting that you can't find really easily. And so sometimes what happens is I'll format a whole huge paperback in there and I'll get everything looking just actually perfect. And then I print it to the PDF that I need to upload it to Amazon. And there's a whole bunch of extra pages or whatever in there that aren't in the document, that I just can't find in the document anywhere. And I'm like, okay, now I have to search for all this hidden formatting to find out how this is happening. And I hate it. As I always say, the other half of the battle is the battle. Yeah, first I had to get my characters to the battle. Now they're at the battle. Now I have to write the battle. So I hate writing battle scenes, but I do it a lot. So I just kind of it's funny because to me, like I think every writer has the things that they like to write the most. And regarding the hidden formatting, I could go on at length. Taryn, anyone who's used your word processor for 5 minutes knows the struggle. For me, the thing that I enjoy writing most as a writer is like emotional stuff. So I like writing deep conversations, like philosophical or meaningful conversations, emotions that are happening between two characters, like big realizations or revelations, or characters confronting something that's going on in themselves or in their life, or, you know, having to confront something that they've been trying to avoid. Like, I like all the big emotional stuff. And not just like romance and that kind of stuff, but also like, oh, this is this thing from my past that has finally come back to haunt me, or this is something that I always thought about someone, and now I'm discovering that it's something else. I really like those kinds of scenes. I like the emotions. Battle scenes for me are challenging because you often don't have time to deal with emotions in the middle of them. And it's very dynamic and active, and I struggle with writing descriptions, so they're hard for me. So for me, this kind of thing is just kind of like knuckle down and get through it because it has to be in there. It's an important part of the story, and I'll make it interesting. I'll make it feel good by the time that everything's finished. But it's just not my favorite thing to write. Sardonisms, I like writing the angst. Me too. Me too. So for me, this is one of those, it has to be in there, I have to get it out, but it's not necessarily, I haven't necessarily been able to conjure it into my mind because it's not the part of the story that I'm the most interested in. Even though it's the part of the story that everyone's going to be like, wow, that battle scene was super great. And I'm like, yeah, but what about the emotional confession that happened on page 62? I get stuck on battle scenes so much. I was once writing a Doctor Who movie, and it was fine, and I was having a great time until I got to the battle, and I was like, the Daleks shot at him, he ran away. It's hard. I've talked about this before. I'm gonna pause it because I ran over into the timer anyway while I was writing. I've talked about this before. I kind of build all of my action scenes in layers. So it used to be that when I did my first drafts, I was basically just doing the basic fight choreography. So just, there was a lot of steel against steel and sort of very vague ness. I've kind of learned to do more specific choreography now for my scenes. So I get a lot more back and forth in there. But I'm basically just trying to get positions of all my characters and a basic idea of what cool stuff they're doing. And then during the edits, I'll come back and flesh that out a bit and make it feel like an actual back and forth. And if there's a lot of things happening in one scene, try to make sure I'm keeping track of everything in that scene. And then it goes off to my betas, and then when it comes back, I do a final pass through and just kind of tweak everything so that it feels like it has enough punch to it. I definitely don't get it all out on the first go, and I kind of just accept that the first time I write a battle scene, it's gonna be kind of wishy-washy. Last Tuesday, when we streamed in the morning and I wrote a scene on stream, I was really happy with the scene that I wrote on stream. It needs work, but it felt really solid as a foundation. And then I came back on Tuesday afternoon and wrote the next part of that battle sequence, and I wasn't as happy with it. It didn't feel like it was doing all the things that I wanted it to do. But when I go back through it, I know I'm going to have enough of a foundation to turn it into a scene that I can be happy with. So I didn't go back and like rewrite it because I know that it's the first draft and it's not where I want it to be now, but I can get it to where I want it to be later, sort of thing. But there's definitely a love-hate relationship with me and battle scenes for that very reason. I love writing dialogue, especially between two of my characters. Like, I could get them to go all day back and forth at some point. In the 5th series, I will write that script, but other things have to happen in the story. Listen, I'm the same. This is why a lot of my blog scenes are characters just having conversations at the coffee shop because I can't fit that in my novels. I do think, I know I just ran to the washroom, but I do think I'm gonna run to the washroom quick again. I won't go into BRB mode. I'll go straight into the sprint as soon as we get back, but I don't want to be dancing during the second half of the sprint. Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. I'm also trying to hydrate more in the mornings. So, I don't think that's my blessing and my curse. There are times when not thinking is preferable. Hydration is very important, and I am trying to do more of it. I'm trying to make all the healthy choices, you guys. And I've been doing pretty good this week. I do think I'm gonna have to... I wanted to do my exercise Monday to Friday. I think I'm gonna have to do Monday to Thursday because my legs hurt so much right now that I think I'm gonna have to take Friday off. But I'll still do my yoga on Friday, and I think that'll be pretty good for our first week back into the exercise routine. So we'll see. Let's let the timer switch over for clicky clacking. I'm typing particles so much today, and my brain just does not want to spell it. Just every time. It's one of those things where my fingers are just moving in the wrong formation, and they don't want to do it right today. Hey Janine, how's it going? What's less about being famous and trendy? Writing? I think writing is just about telling the stories that you want to tell, really. People were telling you that you had to blow up online before you could publish. No, I mean, going viral helps get eyes on your work, but you don't need to be super famous to publish. It's just helpful, I guess. I don't know, being not super famous, I can't actually say. I've never been trendy. I'm just over here doing my thing. I definitely have a lot to say on this subject at the break, for sure. Is Dragon still around? I think there was a TTS called Dragon. But I don't know if it uses AI. Oh, that might be a transcription program. Speech recognition rather than text-to-speech. So that might not be helpful at all, sorry. Google's own screen reader app won't read doc. That's what I'm saying. Like, why do they have all of these projects that don't work together? Google, why? We developed all of these things, but they can't touch each other. They cannot be allowed to touch. getting close to the end of this scene, I think. The timer always ends mid-sentence. Look at how happy our little axolotl is. Alright. I am very close to the end of this scene, which makes me happy. And we are at 3,501 words. Perfect. Again, not sure that the fight scene is going exactly the way I want it to, but there's definitely enough of a foundation there that I can fix it later. Let's do a stretch. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's do a save. And let's do a hydrate. Are you practicing more today, Proto-Matt? How's it going? Making your head hurt? No, but I feel you. Knowledge, when you're trying to cram knowledge into your brain, it do hurt. 500 words that sprint? Hell yeah, Taryn. Not bad. So back to the earlier part of the conversation, Taryn said, I did a lot of self-work to break up with the desire to be famous before I was able to write full-time, which has been super helpful because obviously I'm not famous, but I no longer get distracted with fantasies of being famous and I love what I do no matter what, so that's neat. I had a lot of struggles with this myself, like talking about being well known on the internet or being able to go viral or being popular or whatever. I've been doing what I've been doing for a long time, and a lot of it is just shouting into the void. And I don't really know how to be popular. I've never been a popular person. Wasn't popular in high school. Haven't been popular since. I don't really know how to get out there and get in touch with an audience or get my work in front of a lot of people. And a lot of the courses that I've taken, because I've taken courses on how to market your work, involve throwing a lot of money at the problem that I don't have. So it seems unless you know, like, how to be an influencer or you have a lot of money, getting to that level of popularity is hard. I don't know how to do it. And I had big dreams when I first started publishing too, that I would hit publish on my work and people would just magically find it and I would make a ton of money. I spent a lot of years thinking, I'm so close to making money. I'm so close to being a viable business. I'm so close to hitting it big. And it took a lot of self-examination and reflection on society and the mechanics of how all these things actually work, to realize that I might never actually be popular and I might never actually make a ton of money. And I had to do a lot of changing of my perspective and my practices and the way that I engaged with myself and my work when I had those realizations in order to be comfortable and happy with where I am and what I do. And I've done that now. Ghost Pepper has helped me rearrange our finances in such a way that if I don't make a ton of money off of my work, which, spoiler, I don't, I'm still able to keep writing full time because we do have another source of income. We live in a house now where we rent out our basement. So our house has a suite that is entirely separate from our main portion of our house. It's connected via a door, but that door is always locked. It has its own outside entrance and everything. And we have tenants that live there, who pay rent every month, and that is essentially my supplemental income. That is, like, it replaces the fact that I don't have a regular job that brings in regular money. And I've managed to make enough money from editing and from sales and all that sort of thing that essentially my writing supports itself. I make enough money from my writing and editing to pay for my covers and to pay for my marketing. Joe's here. Joe, how's it going? Do I have audiobooks? No. Audiobooks are next on my list, but they're expensive to produce. I have a quote from at least one person, and I've talked to a couple of other people who haven't given me quotes. And it's just outside the budget right now. I think it's something that I'm gonna have to fundraise for at some point in the future. So it's on the list. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna do it yet, but it's on the list. But yeah, I had to come to terms with the fact that I'm probably never going to be famous. Would be lucky to just make steady money off of my work. And I think every writer goes through that at some point in time. I think every writer comes to the realization that you can't just hit a button and blow up overnight. And the people who do get very, very lucky. It's like winning the lottery. So just very, very sober advice from me to any writer out there is love your work. Because I decided a long time ago that the most important thing to me was to write stories that would be loved. And since I can't control how anyone else feels about what I write, I decided that I would write stories that I love. Because then my work always has at least one fan. Me. It's always loved by at least one person. And if I love it, there's got to be someone else out there somewhere who could potentially love it. So I am my first and biggest fan. It sounds weird and selfish and egotistical to say that, but I write what I want to write, and I love what I write. And I hope that someday I will learn how to market well enough to help people find the things that I write and enjoy them as much as I do. But until then, I'm just kind of over here in my corner of the internet doing my own sort of corner of the internet thing, and I've met all you guys, and that makes me happy. And I never would have imagined 10 years ago when I first published my first book that I would be doing streams on Twitch 3 times a week and hanging out with people who actually want to be around me when I'm writing. But it's pretty cool. And like, this is not me saying, hey, I need more money, pay me for stuff or whatever. If you want to support my work, my books are on Kindle Unlimited. You can read them. If you're subscribed, you can purchase e-copies. You can get them in paperbacks. You can subscribe to the channel, and that all that money goes to the same pool. It all goes towards supporting me doing this more. But don't feel obligated, because I have come to the realization and acceptance sort of a long time ago that I'm doing this to do it, and money is kind of like a bonus. I mean, you need money to live. So if I make money, that money will go to my mortgage, it will go to my groceries, it will go to all of the things that contribute to living. But I'm very, very fortunate that I can live without that money as well. So now you know all the big secrets of my life. Yeah, so getting famous would be nice, making millions off my work would be nice, not ever having to worry about money again would be nice, but I've come to the realization and acceptance that that is unlikely to ever happen. I would be happy to be a mid-list author. I would be happy to just have a small, dedicated group of people who are interested in reading everything I wrote, and every comment that I get from everybody about any of my stuff that I've written means everything to me. I've even gotten a couple of comments on my pen name work where people are like, I love these characters and I desperately want good things to happen to them. And I'm like, somebody likes my garbage. I'm so happy. So yeah, that's the dirty, honest truth about my existence. But I do think it's important to keep that perspective. If you're thinking about publishing your work, keep in mind that you're not going to hit the publish button and blow up overnight, but that's okay. That's not necessarily why you do it. There were more things happening during the sprint. The hard part I'm discovering is finding a TTS app that doesn't want access to all the everything and explicitly says they won't use my data to train AI. Yeah, I think a lot of data scraping is happening with text-to-speech these days. Not that I think anyone is trying to steal this ridiculous thing, but I'm protective of my characters and my babies. I have 4 like babies and fictional babies. The idea of Trace getting swept up in an LLM makes me uncomfortable outside of any logical or moral argument. I just don't like it. It's fair. It's fair to not want your work to be training AI. It's honestly one of the reasons why I don't use Google Docs, although I have no proof that they're using Google Docs for AI training. It would be easier for my stuff to be fed into the cloud if it's already on the cloud. I used to work in IT networking as well, so I studied networking security, so I know all the dark places on the internet. I don't mind AI voices if it's an amalgam of voices or voice specifically commissioned, but I don't like that they don't want to tell me whether they're going to use it. Yeah, because then if something happens, they don't have to be liable to you, right? My $10 one-time purchase deluxe e-reader app will do it. Heck yeah! It makes me stupidly happy to hear even a crappy TTS read the story back to me. Aw, nice! I have no goal in mind anymore, I just have stuff I want to write. Honestly, finishing something is the first and most important goal. My primary goal remains finishing all the weird-ass stories that are in my head. It's my primary goal for my life. For that sprint, I opened the editing portal for my website for the first time in over a year and a half. I looked at it, realized how little I knew, and noped out. At least you looked at it, Peter. At least you looked at it. I have zero desire to be famous. I've only ever been recognized once, and that was when I was at the Trailer Park Boys live show and someone shouted Peter Greenwood at me, and I just kind of waved and hid and quickly walked away. Peter, you're famous in my heart. I wanted to be famous, and then I realized people are mean. That's true. People will disappoint you, especially famous people. I also came to the realization a long time ago that I would be a lot more successful as a creative if I was even just a tiny bit less ethical, and I don't like that. I don't like the idea that the way that people are successful is often to be unethical and to lie. I hate to say that because I'm not trying to accuse, I'm not saying everyone who's successful is a liar. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I feel like a lot of the conventional advice out there is to be just at least a little bit skeevy, and I don't like that. I don't want to be at least a little bit skeevy, so I'll never be famous. It still makes me want to cry when I stop and remember I'm doing my dream job from way back when I was a wee Tyrannosaurus, and I have been for the last 2 to 3 years. Same. If past me, who was struggling through college, could see me now, past me would be pretty impressed. Humans do like money, can confirm I spoke to a human once. Knowing is half the battle and the other half of the battle is the battle. Absolutely. This spice is too spicy for my spiceless life, Spicy McSpice face. I'm so sorry. This is the e-reader that I got to read my RPG rulebooks that are in unwieldy PDF formats. Nice. More recently, because of the radio show, I've been getting people emailing me like, make money selling your voice to AI program. I get a lot of emails too. I'm just successful enough to get a lot of emails from people who want me to pay them to sell my stuff. And I'm like, no thanks. Got an 80% or more on all the practice tests. Time to start over. Are you aiming for like a specific percentage mark, Proto? What's the what do you have to get to pass? Hard same. I could be doing bigger shows and bigger stations, but they're 100% not for me. I could do it, but I don't ever want to. I don't want to conform to those mindless drone voices. Listen, if a publisher melted out of the woodwork to me and was like, we love absolutely everything that you're doing, and we want to, I'm going to pause the timer, and we want to pay you mass amounts of money to continue to do exactly what you're doing, and we promise that we won't touch the creative fidelity of your work, I would be all for that. I would have a lawyer go over the contract, but I would be all for that. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think I'm ever going to be noticeable enough that someone's going to be like, hey, we want to pay you money to do this thing. But mostly I just want to do the thing that I want to do, and I like having the creative control. I like having complete creative control over my schedule, over my work. You know, money would be nice. I wouldn't say no, but, you know, I'm not going to fall over myself. I don't want to go back to the world of, not to discourage anyone who is thinking about querying traditional publishers, please, by all means, but I don't want to go back to querying. I don't want to go back to agent land. It just wasn't for me. It didn't, it killed my soul a little bit, and I'm happy where I am. I would like a small community of people who know me and think I'm cool, and not a stack of awkward raccoons in a human meat suit mech with a hamster on a wheel for a motor. I just want you to know, Sardonisms, that even if you are a stack of awkward raccoons in a human meat suit mech with a hamster on a wheel for a motor, I still think you're pretty cool. And I always will think you're cool, whether or not you're raccoons piloting a mech with a hamster. I'm just saying. So you at least have a place here with us in whatever mad club this is. We're all mad here. That's the dream, but the same publisher comes along with a truck full of cash and is like, we love what you're doing, but we have these suggestions, and they get more and more outlandish, and what's the point when you're like, yeah, that's too much amount? Well, exactly. Exactly. What are the chances that the truckload of money doesn't come with a lot of stipulations? That's always the thing. For me, because we're having a super serious conversation right now, for me, there's always been a lot of examination of what success means. What is success? How do I define myself as successful? If success is defined solely as making a ton of money off of my work, I'm not successful. If success is defined solely by the number of people who have read or reviewed my work, very marginally successful, maybe. In all of the traditional like check boxes for what represents success, I'm not really very successful. But I get to do what I love every day. I have a small group of people who enjoy what I produce and constantly compliment me and tell me that they enjoyed it and that they want to experience more of it. I get to keep doing what I love. I am not struggling to put food on the table or a roof over my head. And in all of these ways, I'm successful. I'm happy. And that's a form of success. So am I traditionally successful? Probably not. Like, I'm not going to get put on the cover of Time magazine for what I'm doing. But am I happy in my day-to-day? Do I wake up every day excited about the things I get to do? Yeah. And that's a form of success. Not everyone gets to say that. I know a lot of people who don't feel that way. So, which success is important? If money is the thing that's important to you, then pursue it. But if happiness is the goal, I'm doing pretty good. That makes me very happy, thank you. Sardonisms, I'm happy to have you around always. I don't remember what channel those emojis are from, but they're cute and they fit my mood. They are adorable. I love them. I have not been on the cover of Time. What weird world do you live in that you saw me on the cover of Time magazine? Peter, I love and appreciate you. I've definitely not been on the cover of Time magazine. Let's go hang out let's eat, actually. This will remind me that I have to eat at some point, I assume. Maybe if I have a spirit that is eating with me, I'll remember that I gotta eat at some point. I am gonna go take a quick break so that I can use the restroom, and then we will do our final sprint. I will wrap up this scene. I don't think it will take the full 30 minutes, but we will do the last 30-minute sprint, and it'll be fun. What world do you guys live in that I'm on Time magazine? In 2006, Time magazine made you Person of the Year. I legit added that to my resume. I didn't even know that. A better one. Sardonisms, you're too sweet. You was the official choice for Time's Person of the Year in 2006. The magazine set out to recognize the millions of people who anonymously contribute user-generated content to websites such as YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, Wikipedia, and other wikis, and the multitude of other websites featuring user contribution. That's super cool. That's super cool. I did not know that. And I appreciate that I do know that now. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and do our final sprint. Hopefully that wasn't too deep territory to wade into there, but I do think it's really important to to realize that success is different, can be different than you may initially have thought when you were 16. When I get back, Chaos Octopus Cam will happen. Is that Natakate or Natakate? Tell me how to say your name. Well, welcome in. Just been looking through the talk, but it's been useful. I'm so glad. That's what I'm here for. That's absolutely what I'm here for. We'll be back with Chaos Octopus Cam in just a few moments. I'm back! Oh my goodness. And Chaos Octopus Cam. This Chaos Octopus Cam was provided by J Chili, who's in the chat. Look at her, she goes on break right when I come back. Woof! Welcome back. This is Joe's interpretation of me wearing my octopus hat. In case you were wondering. This is a question to the chat, which is the best zombie book novel you've read? Caedmon, hello. I sadly do not have an answer for this one. I don't read zombies. But feel free to toss your answers at Caedmon. Caedmon, how's it going? The SD Perry Resident Evil novels are really fun. They cover the games, but there's also a couple of original stories, and they expand on certain elements. There's also a book called The Living Dead, which is a lot of fun. Heck yeah. Joe's art is beautiful. Yeah, unfortunately, zombies are an instant no for me. Not my genre, but I know lots of people do like it. I'm gonna unleash the timer so we can get this final sprint in here. I need to take a moment to think about, because I think I'm like... I want to say I'm within 500 words of the end of this scene, but every time I say that, I end up writing 1,000 words. So we'll see. I think I have to coordinate 2 actions happening at once. And I have to let some of it spill over into the next scene. If Joe and Bard made a baby, they'd be the most artistic babies ever. Quite possibly. Ooh, The Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks. Ex-Heroes by Peter Klein. My fave is Joseph Taluto's series White Flag of the Dead, which is the best series of zombie novels I've ever read. Interesting. Also, Natakate, thank you so much for the follow. I know I was very speedy on moving out. I did have to use the restroom, but thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying the vibe here. Haven't read many zombie novels, but superheroes in the zombie apocalypse is a hell of a pitch to hit me with. I don't know if it counts, but last year I did read The Reanimator's Heart, which is about a guy who ends up bringing the guy he has a crush on back to life as a sort of undead revenant. Now, see, that sounds interesting to me. That's a rare case where I might be willing to waive my no zombies hard no. I did have a dream one time. I will admit, I did have a dream one time about Dahmerin in the zombie apocalypse, and I never wrote it down, but I do remember it enough that I could someday write it down, maybe. I don't know. I'd rather have nerdy vampires. Heck yeah, Protomat! I am on that truck with you. many words do you tend to average per day? I'm trying to find a realistic goal for myself. This, I might not be the best person to average against, because it depends on how much you write in a day and whether or not you're writing full-time versus having a job. I average anywhere between 6 and 8,000 words on a normal day. And my best days, my best days I've hit 12, but I don't do that very often. So usually between 6 and 8. Thousand. I don't know if I said 1,000. Not just 6 and 8 words. Not million. No, woof, stop. My advice for anyone who's trying to set a reasonable word goal for yourself is measure how many words you can write in about an hour, and then measure against that. So the more you do it, because I started at an average word count of 3K per day, and I've built up from there. I'm unemployed, so maybe 2K is a good starting goal. Absolutely. And absolutely working your way up is the best goal. Because the more you do it, the more iterations of writing every day, and the more you develop your routine and get into the habit and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna speed up. So my advice is to track your word counts and measure against yourself. That's the best way to increase your productivity. I write roughly anywhere between 6 and 8 hours a day, which is how I get that word count. I can do, in a 30-minute sprint, I can do anywhere between 1,200 and 1,800 words in a 30-minute sprint, depending on how in the zone I get, so. I was really excited to realize yesterday that I hit 59K on my novel, but I definitely took a long time to get there. Every little bit helps. Back to lurk. Woof, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm so excited to play MonsterCon tonight. This should be hyphenated. This is usually editing work, but I stopped on this sentence, so I'll hyphenate it. You're from New Zealand but moved to the US 6 years ago. Nice! We have a friend from New Zealand who's in our D&D group. And he's super cool and fun. And he introduced me to wine from New Zealand. And I love it. It's a long walk to be like, hey, I like New Zealand wine. But I do. Kali is not from New Zealand. No, this is not somebody that you know, I don't think. Kali isn't part of our in-person D&D group. I think he played Helldivers with Ghost Pepper a few times on stream, but I don't know that you guys would know him by name. I have one in my fridge right now. I think it's from New Zealand. It's called Riverlore. It's really good. Am I misremembering it being from Australia? I think it's from New Zealand. Yes, it is. It's called Riverlore, one word. It's a Sauvignon Blanc, which I'm saying hardly wrong because I don't speak French very well. It's very minerally. I love it. It's one of my favorite wines. And it's from New Zealand. And I only know about it because our D&D friend was like, hey, if you like white wines, you should try New Zealand wines. He was like, Australia does the reds and New Zealand does the whites. Oh, the scene is gonna need some work. But it's pretty okay, I must say. I'm pretty decently okay with it. They turn off Chaos Octo's cam. Hey, my camera's still working. Excellent. So how many words did we do in the scene? Total. 4,269. I'm pretty happy with that, especially the 69 browse. Heck yeah. That leaves one more scene, one in this book, which I will finish after lunch. It needs a lot of editing, like a lot. I went through this one so fast that I need to go back and make sure that all the plot actually got in there, but that's a future me problem. That's a problem for future me. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who said nice. Sauvignon, yeah. Listen, I'm gonna forget that as soon as I look at the word in French again. I'm gonna say it horribly wrong again. The problem is, with me in French, my lips don't move the way that your lips need to move in order to speak French words. I think I did say the G way more. No, Sauvignon Blanc is what it should be. Hang on. I will actually just link you guys to, it's a Sauvignon Blanc. It's a Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. Let me get rid of all the excess garbage here. No. You're good. This is the wine that I'm talking about. I don't know where this website originates. I don't know if this is the actual I don't know if this is the winery or like the BC supplier. Cuz this looks like voted Victoria's best liquor store. So this is a BC liquor store website here. But this is the wine that's in my fridge right now that I'm gonna drink this weekend. But yeah, my lips don't move in the shape that French words need them to move, and so I'm very bad at speaking French. I should know how to say Sauvignon, but my brain 404'd and I didn't. Blanc is pronounced in a way I can't actually convey with English phonetics because the A isn't really a sound we have. Bandersnatch Cummerbund? There's some Maori designs on the bottle. Nice. Yes, I believe that is supposed to be an actual creature from New Zealand lore. It says something about it on the bottle, but I don't know what it's actually called. It was actually the reason why I'm so weird. I choose my my booze because of the bottles, which is not the way that you're supposed to choose your booze, because booze can be very expensive. Not just wine, but like any type of alcohol can be very expensive. So you should like actually look up reviews and stuff. But a friend of mine told me that New Zealand white wines were really good. And so what happened was I was at the store and I saw that label and I was drawn to the label because it's a really cool label, and I buy like all of my wines based on the labels. I found another one called Moon Cursor, which is not a New Zealand wine. It's a BC wine. Because it was called Moon Cursor. And on the bottle it says, "Curse you, moon, for lighting this path tonight. This gold is mine." And I was like, I gotta drink this. I don't care what it tastes like. I gotta drink it. So I saw the label, picked it up, read the back and saw that it was from New Zealand. And I was like, okay, instant purchase, because my friend already told me that New Zealand wine is really good. And I really, really liked it. And then after that, I also found Stoneleigh, which is another New Zealand wine. That's really, really good, but slightly more expensive. So I only get that one when it's on sale. It all tastes similar, so you know, pick the shiny label. I mean, it tastes different enough. Smelly cheese ham hock. 5 years of French in middle and high school, another semester in college. It was like 10 to 15 years ago, but I can still say it okay. I took 2 years of French in high school, and I'm bad at it. I'm bad. Usually we actually just call it a Sauv Blanc. We don't even usually go as far as saying Sauvignon. I wish I liked white wines more. I'm a very red dessert wine type of person. Hey, if you are a red wine person, then you probably won't ever like white wines as much. I'm very much a white wine person, and Ghost Pepper is a red wine person, so we buy separate wines. They're a different taste palette, and that's fair. I'm reading back through chat now. We're all chill people, and we all hang in the club. If you're in the club, you're fam. Heck yeah. From New Zealand, moved to the US 6 years ago, and I very much enjoyed the words I've been writing all my life, just finally trying to get serious about it. What type of stuff do you write? Not to Kate. And if I forget how to say your name, remind me how to say it right, because I'm gonna forget. I know I'm gonna forget. I'm so bad at names. Not just today, but in the future. I'm so bad. I need lots of reminders. This cat would not be in my line of sight when we first got this place. Apologies if I randomly disappear. We have a storm. It might affect internet. I hope you don't have too bad of a storm, but we understand. Scaredy kitty let me pet her, by which I mean she decided that me petting her was less threatening than going around all the other cats, and it wasn't worth going the other way through the kitchen. Aww. I think I'm caught up to the zombie book. My record is 1K in 20 minutes. That's an impressive number of words, Sardinisms. 1K in 20 minutes is impressive. That means that if you wrote for a full hour and maintained that pace, you could write 3K in an hour. Not that I recommend doing that, but... I find it ironic that while in New Zealand I liked foreign alcohols, and now that I'm here in the US, my friends are a little confused that I don't know anything about New Zealand wines. I literally only know because my friend was like, hey, drink this. Megan in high school, like, I'm never gonna live anywhere I need French. No, I tried to learn French in high school. I tried. I was bad at it, but I tried. I like both reds and whites. I prefer reds, but I'm not picky. Nice. You kind of got blessed with the best of both worlds then, Taryn. Because I do not like reds, rather. I only like whites. I like sipping whites. I can drink red wines, but I don't really like them. Working on a fantasy mystery novel with 2 more books already planned. That sounds amazing. Love that. Have definitely gotten 2 to 3K in an hour before. I forget exactly how close to 3K I got, but it was a long time ago. You'll work back up to it. You'll work back up to it for sure. He's written 1 or 2 sequels, I hear. Peter, behave. If you guys are wondering why I'm talking so heavily during the sprint, I finished my scene, so I'm catching up on chat, because we're gonna raid here in a few minutes. I was on a roll at the time. I only have 2 modes, 800 plus in 20 minutes or under 800 in 20 days. Fair. Fair. I don't think I technically write fantasy mystery, but there are definitely mystery elements involved in the Aravalia Chronicles because Domarin works for the magical FBI. So he does solve crimes on occasion. He's been known to fight a tree, Godzilla-sized tree, and solve a few crimes. Magical crimes. Fight a Godzilla-sized tree and solve magical crimes. That's kind of his job description. He does like it, actually. He actually does enjoy his job. There was something about another... No, there's only 15. There's only 15 books in the Aravalia Chronicles. Aravalia is a country, so I feel like technically I have to say no, the country itself is just a landmass and not gay. Are there gay characters in Aravalia Chronicles? Yes. In fact, Domarin, the main character in the Aravalia Chronicles, is gay. I'm assuming that's the question that's being asked. How gay is it? I mean, there's a diverse cast of characters. If you get as far as book 4 and meet Silkfoot, oh boy. Don't assume you're right, I shouldn't assume a landmass's preference. That is what I meant. I figured. I felt like I had to answer... I felt like I had to say, hey, Aravalia is a country, so it in itself... the landmass itself. I've mentioned this to other people. I don't think I've necessarily ever mentioned it on stream. But it is a, like, given in all of my work. Any thing that I've written and published, any secondary world that I've ever created, gay marriage is just... Same-sex marriage is a thing, and it's not... There's no, like, fuss about it. It's just, you know, homosexuality, all types of love, I'm saying this poorly, because my brain is farfaring. But any work that I have published in a secondary world, it's just fine. There's total acceptance of all forms of sexuality, all forms of marriage. It's never a question of... That's not to say that there aren't characters in my work who sometimes are bad people and don't accept, you know, the sexuality of certain people. There are bad operators in my work, but the law of the land is essentially, we accept everything. It's not a discussion. You will never find one of my works where they are, like, debating whether or not same-sex marriage can take place. It's a thing. It happens. Everyone's cool with it. I made that decision a long time ago. It's a conscious decision by me because I think that it should be accepted, and I think that it shouldn't be a discussion. And so my characters don't have to hide who they are. At least not that aspect of who they are. There are obviously struggles in Aravalia worlds where, you know, where certain things aren't frowned upon, but not sexuality. Because I get to decide. For my made-up worlds, I get to decide, and I decided it's all good. I write a lot. My worlds are queer normative, yes. That is exactly the word I was looking for and couldn't find. My worlds are queer normative. And I just have to say that in Aravalia Chronicles, where magic is literally a part of the day-to-day world, and people could actually have magic that would change their gender, it only makes perfect sense. It just makes perfect sense to me that if someone is trans in that world, there's magic for that. It exists. Why would they not use it? Why would it not be a normal thing for you to be like, hey, massively powerful wizard who works at the hospital, I don't feel okay in my body. What can we do about that? And then magic doctor is like, yo, we have magic for that. why wouldn't it be normal? Why wouldn't they do that? It doesn't, to me, it just makes perfect logical sense. So, you will find that across all the worlds that I write in, there's a diverse cast of queer characters, and I do that on purpose. It's very important to me. I think that diversity is very important in fiction. And I don't want to say too much about the breakdown necessarily, but there is also a gender fluid character in Arvalite Chronicles. I don't want to say who, because I guess it would be a spoiler. Is that a spoiler to say that? I don't know if that's a spoiler. So I don't know if I should say that, but I'm saying it now. You'll find them in book 4. So yeah, that's me. When Megan tells you this is the last book in a series, do not believe a single letter of that sentence. Peter, behave. Behave. So yeah. Who is around for us to raid? Because I gotta go eat some food and walk up and down the stairs. Is that who you mentioned I'd meet if I get to book 4? The character you named? Yes. Minor spoiler, but yes. Wolf's favorite character. Every time... Wolf's favorite character who's eventually getting a spin-off. Every time I get notes back from Wolf, they are, give me more Silkfoot. No worries, Sardinisms. We are actually headed towards a raid. Thank you for hanging out. Also, if anybody has any questions here at the end of stream about any of my worlds that I didn't answer that they want me to answer quick before we raid out, I will certainly try to do that. There's so many people who are on. Who do you want to raid? Who haven't we raided in a while? I really want to raid Nerdarine, because we haven't gotten to raid them in a while. They've been going for a while, so I don't know how long they're going to go after this. But let's drop in and say hi, because I noticed they were streaming before my stream, and I was like, oh, if they're still going, I want to raid them at the end. So let's see. About to head out for a nap, but it was awesome hanging out here. Congrats on almost finishing your book. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and it was nice meeting you. I hope you will come hang out with us more in the future. To that end, when you can find me, I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So this is my last stream on my channel for the week, but if you're looking for more of whatever this crazy antic is, I will be back next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 10:30 a.m. PST. We are gonna theoretically be starting the outline for the My Little Domerin fanfic that you guys unlocked during the fundraiser. So we're gonna start talking about Domerin as a pony. And he's gonna hate it, and it's gonna be great. So that's gonna happen next week, but if you want more of me before that, tonight, and I will do a quick shout out. Tonight at 7:30 PST, I will be over on It's Swift's channel. We will be playing MonsterCon. If you haven't heard of Monster Prom or Beautiful Glitch, look them up. Their games are amazing. They're worth every moment you spend on them. Their brand new game, MonsterCon, just came out on April 24th. We're going to be playing it tonight. I already dated Nico, the sweet mimic boy, and he's great, and I can't wait to see who people date tonight. So that's going to be happening tonight. And then on Saturday at 7:30, every Saturday, 7:30 p.m. PST, me and Wolf do what we call Cozy Chaos. And we just hang out. I've been playing Tavern Talk over there. And Wolf has been playing Red Dead Redemption, and Elden Ring and all that kind of cool stuff. So check us out there. We basically just hang out and shoot the shit and have wild conversations that are sometimes serious and sometimes hilarious. So if you're looking for me, that's where you can find me. Most of my characters are part of the LGBTQI plus community since I am part myself. If not, they're absolutely an ally. Samesies. Although some of my characters are jerkbags, as I mentioned. I hesitate to use that word normal because that's not what I mean, but do you ever have the desire to write a story set here on the normal regular Earth? I actually did write a story set on the normal regular Earth, and it was called Island of Lost Forevers. It was my first book. So hopefully that answers your question, Peter. Gonna head out and hang with co-working friends. Taryn, thank you so much. I believe Nerdarine is doing some critique, it looks like. So we're gonna head over there. Alright, my friends, it is time for me to head off for the weekend. And I'm going to do the spiel extra hard this week because it's for me as well. Remember to eat, to sleep, to drink, to eat and to sleep, because I really need to remember to eat and sleep while my husband's away for the weekend. I'm bad at it, you guys. Feral Megan will probably happen on Saturday for those of you who look forward to that. Take care of yourselves. Remember to get up and move around from time to time. Take breaks. I hope that you all have the most creative and wonderful weekend until I'm able to see you guys again, because I'm so blessed to have you all hanging out with me and just coming to my streams in general. I don't know why people come here, but I'm so happy and blessed that they do. I think I have that book. I have a couple of your books. I found one I didn't know I had and was deeply surprised and happy. Well, I hope you enjoy reading them, Peter, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will see you guys all next week when my husband is back to remind me to eat and to sleep. Gonna have some dinner after the raid goes through. Blur, take care of yourself. I'll see you guys all very, very soon. You're wonderful, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today.